Right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Cesar Trabanco. I'm the VP of Business Services at the Global Chamber, and this is our bi-monthly, I guess, Miami Meetup. We're trying to put some regularly into it, but it's still not a monthly one. And the idea is to help members in the region connect, not only the ones in Miami, but also the ones who who do business in Miami, like Benjamin in this case, and to put Miami in the map and to keep working on developing the chapter in the region. So today I would like to welcome one of our new members into Global Chambers, Jose Torres from Franet. Jose is an expert in franchises, and he's from Puerto Rico, but living in the Miami area for, I guess, for a lot of time, a lot of years. So Jose, welcome to the Global Chamber. Welcome to the Miami Meetup. We look forward to learning more about not only your business but also about yourself, your background, and how you help companies and individuals invest in the U.S. through franchises.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Cesar. And forgive my voice. I'm still trying to shake off a bad cold that I got earlier this week. But anyhow, great to be here. I think, Cesar, when you mean Miami, you mean the greater Tri-County area, right? Which is Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach County.
That's
Which is
correct. Yes.
it's a great area. It's about 8 million people, in the three counties combined. So I think it has a lot of potential to have a very strong chapter. It's bigger than a lot of metropolitan cities. So I'm hopeful that we can get the chapter growing. So I have a few slides. I know we got about 10-15 minutes. So I wanted to introduce myself, my firm, and see how we can collaborate for mutual benefit. Like Cesar said, I joined the chapter recently in January. I reaped already some good benefits. We had a big franchise event in Mexico, and the Global Chamber there was able to also make some really good introductions and attend some of our events. So that was really, really cool. So just briefly wanted to give you some context with regards to who we are, what we do, and how this could be helpful for those in the chapter that might want to be involved in some of this industries and opportunities. So quickly, my background, I was not born an entrepreneur. Actually, I was a corporate executive for many years, and then left corporate America and started my own consulting firm, specializing in franchising. So I've been on both sides. I own franchises. I've been investor in franchises, and now I run a boutique consulting firm that helps people buy franchises, not only individuals, but also groups. My company is an international franchise consulting firm. We have about 70 offices in the country. So that's one of the reasons that I think it will benefit tremendously our participation in the Global Chamber, because obviously the Global Chamber has a reach not only domestically here in the US, but also internationally. What we do is simple. We're matchmakers. We broker and advise those individuals that are looking to buy franchises, both in the US and also outside the US. We work with hundreds of franchises in about 25 different industries at all investment levels. So I get a question, why do people buy franchises? It's simple, success rate. You could see that 92% of franchises are still open and operating after 5 years, while only about 50% of independently small businesses are still open after 5 years, and startups is even lower, 20%. Why people buy franchises also is, not only because of earnings and income potential, but quality of life. Franchises provide platforms that allow you to work on the business, not in the business, meaning you don't have to be behind the counter or behind the desk to run a franchise. They have systems, technology in place that you could operate businesses without having to, be the man behind the truck or be behind the desk of the business that you're in. Also, I get asked who buys franchises, and owners come from all kinds of backgrounds. People think that you have to be a big company or a big entrepreneur, business owner, but you could see here that there's a very, very broad sector of who buys franchises. And one thing I left out here that I think for the chamber is important is that foreign nationals comprise of a very nice and yet I know that that's what you do. And franchises continue to be the business of choice for people who are coming into the United States via investment visas. And one of the reasons I was in Mexico a couple of weeks ago was to put together a roadshow and attend franchise, because a lot of Mexicans are looking to come into the U.S., through investment visas. But you could see here, women are growing tremendously, 22% growth year over year of women in franchising. Younger people, they're going to college not only to get a job, but now they're going into franchises, and you could see even veterans are getting into franchises. These are the top states. Florida is right there neck to neck with Texas, and especially South Florida. South Florida has become one of the most attractive markets for franchises in the country. And probably many of you know why. It's a very friendly investment environment. No state tax on it. Very easy regulations and population growth. More than 1,600 people move to the state of Florida every day. In that case, quickly, some misconceptions. Some people think that franchise is about fast food and retail, burgers, fries, chicken, car washes, convenience stores. But in reality, there's about 85 different industries in franchising. Here, I'm highlighting the ones that are growing the fastest. What I call the growth sectors in franchises have nothing to do with fast food or car wash. Pets, it's a huge industry. There's more households with pets than with kids here in the state of Florida. Home services. The home has become the sanctuary for the American family. Health and wellness, growing very fast. Real estate services, children and education, senior services, and technology. So when you think franchises, think beyond what you see out there, the golden arches, and what you see out there with regards to businesses. Just to finalize, I think, people think that franchises are expensive, but they're franchises for every budget. You could see here that the total investment range goes from 50,000 and below to 500,000 and everything in between. So this is really a franchise for every budget. The other good news is that franchises are financeable. Banks and lending institutions love franchises because of the low failure rate. So you could easily finance about 75% of the total investment via both, conventional SBA and other private financing available. The last thing is, people think you have to have industry experience. Absolutely not. I would say that 80% of people who buy a franchise don't come from that industry or sector, because the franchise really is looking for a business owner, somebody that has, basic business block and tackling skills, good people and communication skills. The rest, they teach you and your employees what to do. So never think that you have to have prior industry experience. And the reason is they provide everything, full turnkey. They set you up, before you take over the business. They support you ongoingly. They help you with everything along the step to make sure that you are successful. And it's really like being, in business for yourself and not by yourself. Sometimes it's hard to, go on and start a business or buy somebody else's business, because you're left alone, sort of me, myself, and I. When you buy a franchise, it's the best of both worlds, because you are in business for yourself, but you have this big company and this big brand and this big operating system that helps you wear all those different hats that a business owner needs to wear. So I didn't want to take, much of the time, Cesar. That was really, I could, send much more information to the members that want to learn more about franchising, but I wanted to leave, a couple minutes for those questions that people may have. That's my QR code. You could contact me directly. I'm based here in Miami, Florida. but I cover, the whole state and also, the rest of the country and Latin America.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jose. Very interesting about that percentage of franchises that are under $50,000. That's really. I'm one of those who are thinking, this is half a million type of thing. So interesting. And any questions? I see Anita. I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
Hi. Thanks. Excellent information, Jose. I can echo everything you said. I did alternative funding webinars for FranServe for almost a decade and their predecessor before that. So yeah, there are loans for franchises. Banks like them precisely because they come with a system. So it's not, you're not out there on your own. SBA, unfortunately, as you know, is now only lending to U.S. citizens, not even LPRs anymore. However, I have another lender that will do up to $200,000 on a 10-year loan for legal permanent residents. But I have other lenders that will do loans where you can leverage an existing business. So if like 51% of the business is owned by a legal permanent resident or a U.S. citizen, and the rest is like a visa holder, and they have an existing restaurant, they can get a loan on that to help grow a new franchise, to buy a new franchise. So there's different ways to do it. So, if I can ever be of help, let me know. But fantastic.
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
you're.
Let's connect, definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing, Anita. Very interesting. Patricia.
Yes. Well, a great presentation, Jose. And I just wanted to put my 2 cents on this. I have been working with Jose, traveling, to Latin America and making presentations together. And every time I hear this presentation, it really blows my mind because I am a born entrepreneur and I've struggled and I hit my head, against the wall so many times. So just the concept of franchising, it was new to me. And it was mind blowing. I also, like you, Cesar, thought that, to become a franchise owner, you had to buy McDonald's, you had to buy, one of this huge franchise that cost millions and millions of dollars. And it would take forever to put together and all the stuff. Whereas, listening to the presentations, I know that pretty much anybody can be a business owner. And I love that it has a proven system behind it. And a way for international people that want to move in here to actually get their visa. So thank you for your presentation, Jose. I mean, I, for one, vouch for
Thank you.
The system works and it's awesome.
Thank you, Patricia. Jose, you mentioned that you have to be an expert in the field, but still, is there any particular industry that's easier to manage? If I want to get into franchises and I want to know, I want to hear anything about food or restaurants. Are there any particular that really is, Cesar, this is really easy, or this is the easiest for you to manage or to learn about?
Yeah, it's a good point, because if food is the only one that you really have to have prior experience, because there's so many variables, high volume, low margin, minimum wage employees. I would say, Cesar, that, there's two models of franchise. You got the brick and mortar, and then you got the service type businesses. So, and you could see here some of the list. You don't have to be a veterinarian to own a pet franchise, because, you hire people that were, but you are actually the business owner. You don't have to, be a doctor or a healthcare worker to own a physical therapy franchise, for example. The franchise, the recipe's made. All you got to do is execute a system that's proven. So I would say, some franchises, for example, require you to manage people. If you never manage people in your life, try to get a franchise where you don't need to manage people. You could have a virtual assistant. Some franchises require you to be good at sales and marketing because you got to go out in the business community and market the business. So it all depends on your background, what you're good at, what you enjoy doing. And then you have to pick franchises that play to that strength. And that's where we come in. We help you minimize the risk that you end up in the wrong business based on who you are, your background. So, there's a lot of franchises that are within the reach of many of us. It's just making sure you know what your capability is before you pick a franchise.
Perfect. Perfect. Right on. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? And if not, Jose, thanks again for your time. I know you're going to be presenting on the Puerto Rico call in April, so I look forward to get to know more about maybe on the Puerto Rico side, because here is one of those places that franchises is really food related, restaurant related. So it would be
Absolutely.
interesting. I would like now to move to Ben Silviai. He is from XE and he is in California, or at least he lives in California because he travels a lot. And one of the places he likes to visit is Miami. And so I say, hey, Ben, the idea, as I mentioned at the beginning, the idea is of these calls is to get people blended, from with outsiders as well. So Anita and Ben are here representing California, and Ben is going to be talking a little bit about foreign exchange. Latin American countries is a key market for them, as well as Africa. But we look forward to learning more about maybe the Latin American aspect because that's key in
Yeah.
Miami, Florida. So Ben, welcome.
Yes, sir. Sweet. Thank you, Cesar. And like Cesar said, yes, I love Miami. I was in Miami recently. I was kind of hoping to come to Miami again, but virtually. Glad to meet everyone here. I do have a little bit of a presentation, but I guess most people on this call have never seen my face, never heard my name. So I guess I'll introduce myself really quick. My name is Ben. I head up corporate sales at XE for Canada and the US. I graduated from my master's 3 years ago at Cornell, and I decided it was my master's in international business, and I decided I'm gonna go do an international career. Right. So my first thing was I worked for a company actually out of Miami, a very big company called Kaseya. If anyone's watched the basketball game or anything, you've heard of Kaseya. I worked in their Vancouver office and then was supposed to move to their Miami office. Ended up in Bangkok, did a whole tour, and I realized one thing stuck with me is that I want to work internationally for international businesses. Moved back to my home country of Canada, moved to Toronto, and got a job at XE where I've been for about 2 years now. So in my time at XE, I've worked with all sorts of companies from mom and pop shops, corner stores that are importing snacks from the Philippines, all the way up to Fortune 500 companies that are hedging their payroll for Europe, for example. Right. So with that, I mean, I'm going to jump a little bit into XE, what we do. So I guess we work with businesses operating across borders, paying suppliers, receiving international revenue, managing currency exposure, the whole lot. And one thing I've noticed, especially with companies and networks kind of like Global Chambers, is that a lot of the businesses are doing international business tremendously well, but not always managing the currency side as intentionally as they could. Right. So a lot of the times FX is kind of just an afterthought. Whereas, when you stop thinking about it, it kind of creeps up and it quietly erodes your margin in the back end. So there's kind of three real key areas that I'm going to talk about when talking about unintentionally losing margin in FX, specifically with LATAM payments. One is the invisible cost in pricing. So a lot of banks kind of bake in a 2 to 4% spread without even making it obvious. And especially when making payments to Latin America, if anyone here has, sometimes there's an intermediary bank, there's recipient fees, there's all sorts of fees on the way in. So I guess the second part is the timing risk. So if you're quoting internationally but settling 30 to 90 days later, FX moves can quietly erode that margin again. Right. So one of the clients that I had recently, they were Canadian buying US dollars, importing aluminum, and they have net 15-day terms for their accounting. Right. So they had 15-day terms. So 15 days ago, they got the aluminum at $1.36, or when it was $1.35 and a half. And then 15 days later, when it comes time to pay, the dollar is now 138, and they just took a 3 cent hit on $300,000 worth of aluminum. That was kind of $9,000 as a hit just because of the currency risk over 15 days. So that timing risk also plays a big role, especially when you're dealing with larger ticket transfers. And then obviously operational efficiency, manual payments, unclear rate visibility, lack of centralized control. All of these things are kind of just keywords for things that drive business owners crazy. Right, a lot of people are going to be wearing a lot of hats. They're doing a lot of different tasks and jobs, and the last thing they want is to spend all day bouncing between different portals, go to their bank, send out a wire, make sure it got there on time. So with all that, I'm going to kind of introduce my presentation here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And please excuse me, we're in Microsoft Teams business, so I'm trying to figure out how Zoom works. I think I can just go ahead and share the whole screen. That's a thing, right? All right, somebody tell me if I've done something wrong, but otherwise I think I'm in the right place.
Yep.
Sweet. Let
We
me
can
go.
we
Put
can
it in
see it. Yeah,
slide view. There you go.
it's perfect
Perfect.
now. Thanks.
Sweet. So, introduction to XE. Won't bore you guys too much with the company, but we've been in business for 30 plus years. We were one of the first 100.coms ever registered and are currently still one of the top 100 Googled sites in the world. In those 30 years, that we now process over $18 billion in payment volume annually as XE as a standalone business. But we're a part of the Euronet family. So the Euronet worldwide family includes everything to do with moving money everywhere. But in the middle of it, as you see, is RIA, XE, and Dandelion. A lot of you might be more familiar with RIA in Latin America, but XE sits nestled right in there under the Euronet umbrella. Euronet trades on the Nasdaq under stock ticker EEFT with a $4 billion market cap, triple B credit rating, and 11,000 employees across the world. All of this just to say that, it's a large company. We've been doing this for a long time, and we have institutional backing. Even though XE is a little bit smaller, XE manages client relationships very closely. We do have enterprise backing by a company that does over $200 billion a year in payments. Right. So quickly, the XE difference here, especially when making payments in Latin America, the truly global payments network backed by Euronet. So we are a part of the world's largest real-time payments network that's across 190 plus countries, and I'll talk about that on the next slide. But faster delivery to support better cash planning as well. A lot of times when you're dealing with suppliers in Latin America or you're dealing with suppliers globally in total or in general, the timing of the payment matters a lot more than the payment itself, right? If it's not there on time, what good is it? And especially when you're getting payments in, you need that cash for cash planning or for other expenses that are upcoming. What good is it if it comes 2 days later, 3 days later, if it's held up by a bank and it gets docked on the way, right? So operational efficiency at scale as well. Like I said, a lot of business owners are going to be pulling their hair out trying to do a million different jobs. We try to eliminate 90% of that, and we also give you the opportunity to kind of lean on our team as well. Like I said, 30 plus years of experience. You have a dedicated account manager that will be working with you to take a lot of that stress and FX off of your plate and onto XEs. And enterprise grade governance and 24-hour support, like I said in the last slide, owned by Euronet worldwide. We are backed with enterprise level security, bank level encryption, all of that. We have very, very large clients, and our smallest client benefits from the same treatment, security, encryption, and dedicated service as our largest clients do. So to touch on that real-time payments network piece that I talked about, we have we have reach in 200 countries in 123 currencies. Our best reach is, like Cesar mentioned, actually in Africa and Latin America. RIA Money Transfers, our sister company, is very large in Latin America. But when I say true global reach, I mean true global reach. I'm talking about bank accounts in 178 countries, mobile wallets in 63 countries, 133 wallet providers, cash pickup in 163 countries at 626,000 locations. So I give all of you guys a challenge for after this call. Whatever hometown you are from or local city you are from before, go ahead and try to find on the RIA website your closest cash pickup. I bet you guys that there's a cash pickup within 20 miles of your hometown. So fast delivery for XE, 90% of our payments or bank transfers are delivered within minutes, not hours, not days, not weeks. And 100% of mobile wallet transfers and cash pickups are within minutes. Again, no hours, not days, not weeks. Flexible payment flows, you can do B2B, you can do B2C, you can do C2B, you can do it however you need. We are here to help move money between you, your business, your partners, whether those are people, businesses, your own business, whatever that might be. This one I'm going to skip, but this is kind of the technical part of we integrate into your systems, whether you're using an ERP like Microsoft Dynamics, we're the only money transfer company directly embedded in Dynamics or any Microsoft suite product, Sage, or if you're looking just to use our custom API for your accounting software, for your internal tools, all of that is also available through XE. Just a quick little slide about the companies that trust and work with XE. We're partnered with some of the biggest companies in the world, like I said. But again, that doesn't detract from the fact that we also work with, like I said, convenience stores that are importing snacks from the Philippines. Every client is treated the same. We have 24-hour support across the world in over 100 languages that you have access to 24 hours of the day, 6 days of the week. And my last thing, we are pleased to announce a partnership between Global Chambers and XE to bring truly global payments powered by XE to everyone here. right? So obviously everyone could have signed up for an XE account before, but thanks to the great negotiations from Cesar and Doug, we've actually made group rates for everyone, and also everyone has access to the account management and our more red carpet tools and availabilities for everybody that comes through Global Chamber. So I'm going to be putting the link for the website so that everyone can check it. And you can either go ahead and sign up for an account, or you can talk to somebody from my team. They'd be happy to talk to you about your specific currency risks, what you're dealing with, what countries you're paying to, and how we can help support beyond just what your bank might be doing, or if you're using another broker. So excited to be announcing that today too. Like I said, my presentation is not going to be very long, and that is about all I've got. But any questions about payments?
Thank you, Ben. And when it comes to that partnership, I think even if the member is not the one who's going to be using the service, they can win by referring to you, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I completely forgot to touch on that. The entire Global Chambers is based on network. It's based on communication and conversations, and everybody gets to benefit from that. That's absolutely true. So even if your business is not making international payments, you are also able to join our referral or our affiliate program, which allows you to tap into your network, recommend others, refer them to the network. They will benefit from Global Chambers group rates, and you will benefit from the referral agreement as well. And in that one, you guys can message me directly to kind of discuss what the affiliate program looks like.
Awesome. And
Thank you, sir.
Anania has a question.
Well, actually,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
just want to give a shout out to Ben. XE is one of the companies that I represent. Ben and I have talked in the past, and I use them for my business as well. So, yay.
That's good. Thank you, Anita.
So I back when I was in college, and I think in my first jobs that involve international payments, or at least known currencies, I always would go to xa.com. And I thought it was just that, like a calculator. So I never thought about the whole payment and how big the company was. So very, very interesting.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course. Of course, we get over 100 million searches per year on our website for the currency conversion rates. Not a whole lot of people know that we actually make those payments too, so I'm glad to share that part of it. And funny to hear that you were using XE back in college.
Yeah. No, I remember. I remember it's for some projects. I remember doing a project
Yeah.
and
Funny enough,
importing.
so did I 5 years, 6, 7 years ago. Did not think that I would ever work here, but here we are.
Yeah, interesting. Perfect. So Ben, I invite you to stay here in the room, and we're gonna move now to Ileana, and then after probably do a quick roundtable with the rest of the group because we're small today. So I always like to find time for everyone. So Ileana Arias is an immigration lawyer. She's from Venezuela, living in the U.S. for many years, and Elena, well, of course, besides introducing yourself and telling everyone what you're doing, I thought about having you as a guest to maybe mention on how you see things going on in Venezuela. How's the future? I mean, of course, we know you don't have a crystal ball, but in terms of that migration, Venezuela, US. We have a member in real estate that say, hey, I'm going to Venezuela. I will be buying a beach house there. And so it's like, wow, things are happening very fast. So it would be great to get more of your thoughts about that. And welcome, Eliana.
Thank you, Cesar, for the opportunity. I'm always very proud to talk about Venezuela. I'm an attorney in Venezuela, and I maintain very close relationship with the law firms where I used to work, and are now revisiting the interest of investors, entrepreneurs, families, and workers, since many of you may be familiar with the fact that this government has initiated this invasion in Venezuela, the capture and processing of Maduro here in the US, and recently opened diplomatic relationship actually in Venezuela with a mission that is in the ground in the embassy in Venezuela, which has been closed for so many years. It has now partially reopened. So we are seeing definitely an opportunity to start contact again and visiting doing business with Venezuela, obviously. It's a very interesting emerging market, a lot of opportunities, but very risky, in my opinion, because there are so many things that are still in the works. A very confusing transition taking place, although there is a very good team in charge of a liaison with the Venezuelan government, which is still very much in place. Nothing has really changed. It's not that we are transitioning to a democratic government system as of now. So it's just a country to keep in mind because, as everybody has mentioned, and congratulations again, I should have said this from the beginning from your presentation, Jose and Ben. Venezuela is still a very interesting market, and especially me living in Miami, but I practice all over the US and have been doing immigration for entrepreneurs and companies that have a presence in Venezuela and everywhere else. And because of what's been happening in Venezuela for the last so many years, have been looking into Europe and other markets, but are now reconsidering reopening their presence in Venezuela. But everything needs to be understood uh, in the big context of things going on right now, because it's not easy to explain and nobody has the crystal ball, like Cesar mentioned. And being able to understand the risk and being guided by the hand of legal experts in Venezuela, and we are happy to serve as a liaison. We're working every day with these foreigners or people that are interested in understanding where they're standing right now to seize opportunities in sectors like energy, technology, where there's always has been an opportunity with Venezuela. And if things continue to develop in the direction that we're hoping things are going to develop, definitely Venezuela is a great gate to the Americas, obviously because of its geographic position, but because of its background, historic position in doing business with the world. And I don't have any information as of today that things are going to be resolved in the very near future. And I personally don't believe it's going to be the case, but it is still important to consider it and to watch closely if you have clients that somehow are connected to Venezuela somehow, because there's a lot of Venezuelans living in other parts of the world. Obviously, here in the US, a lot of concentration in Miami, cities like New York or even California, but a lot of, because I live in Miami and I have firsthand knowledge of that fact. But there's a lot of companies right now from all over the world, not only the US, interested in knowing how are things developing in Venezuela and wanted to be in the front of the line should opportunities develop. As of today, nothing significantly have changed politically wise. To the contrary, I think it's a time to be very cautious of the risk involved. But we're going to be seeing a progression of this transition and the success of this liaison and initiative taken by the US government presently today in Venezuela, no doubt. And if I can be of any help, if you want to meet with me or me to provide further information or serve as a bridge to put you in contact with the right people in Venezuela, please let me know. I'm working with these matters on an everyday basis and at all level, all industries and all, matters. Let me know. I'll be very happy to share what I know and my experience, because it's important to know not only the legal aspects, commercial aspect, but the way Venezuelan thinks and the way things are really operating in Venezuela aside from the news. Because believe me, there's so much we can read in the news, and the difference between what's really happening in Venezuela is another one. So there's a big gap in what we officially know and what is actually happening. Okay.
Thank you, Liana. Well, I will actually connect you to this member because you never know. I mean, it's good for him to know locals, and if you're still in touch with legal firms there,
Yes, I am very
that's
involved with law firms in Venezuela, and
yeah.
I'm watching closely everything that could affect doing business in Venezuela or with Venezuelans, because many of you may have friends or clients from Venezuela. There are travel bans right now in place,
Mhm.
just like for Colombia as well. So there are many things that are playing a big role in terms of doing business when we talk about the mobility of Venezuelan nationals right now.
Perfect, Jose.
No, thank you for sharing that, Ileana. You know that the Venezuelan community, a lot of my clients over the years, I placed a lot of E2 visa clients, Venezuelan clients, from 2009 all the way up to like 2015 before things became really difficult. Um, and they're all telling me they're ready to actually bring their franchise,
I know,
open a branch
I know,
in Venezuela, and
I
they're so
know.
excited, but there's so much uncertainty. There's much more, so I'm going to make sure that I connect this folks with you because they have all these dreams that later this year they could set up and bring their franchise to Venezuela. But
Mm.
obviously, we don't know yet exactly, like you said, the timing, the process, how is it going to work, so, but I do
It
know
is
that.
very important to have a foot and to be in line and be first line spectator of what's going on right now, because that's going to give them an advantage, but to be very cautious and be guided by experts who know not only the legal aspects, but culturally and in practical terms and in terms of risks in every sense, what's going on in Venezuela. Because there's a big opportunity. Actually, there people just going back and everything, but there's a very complex environment right now that needs to be taken into consideration.
Do you have a partner law firm or thinking on opening a
Yes,
branch
yes, we
in
do.
Venezuela?
Yes,
Okay,
we do. Yes, we do.
excellent.
And as I said, if you need assistance, let me know. I'll be happy to meet with you.
Awesome, awesome. No, that's great news. Thank you for sharing that.
Mhm.
And the other question, tell us a little bit about the environment for E2 visa for people who want to immigrate here through an investment based. And have you seen let's say a decrease, increase, or still, say the same during the last year and a half of the administration or year.
Um, No, it has not been the same, Jose. I have a lot of clients from Europe and other part of the world who are thinking twice about right now continuing to invest in the US or actually mobility, because they are somehow intimidated by new regulation, a lot of scrutiny at the airports. I have a lot of clients from Europe who are used to travel with ESTA to the US and are now forced to apply for investors visa because they are afraid that their ESTA privilege are going to be questioned if they continue to visit their investment in the US. And now they're very cautious because they know that there is a lot of an intense scrutiny process as a result of this government intention of protecting the safety of U.S. citizens against illegal immigrants who have, criminal backgrounds, and it is affecting, and they're looking for other markets probably that are less intimidating than the United States, thinking a little bit like, well, maybe this is not the best time right now to do business in the US in a very peaceful way. But there's no evidence that this is, reality, because companies continue to be set up every day. Visas are still being approved every day. But there is a sense that there is a anti-immigrant atmosphere right now, or things are being more complicated for immigrants. Processes are being slower, taking more time, immigration officers and consular officers asking for additional evidence. And this is all true. I need to say that there's a higher scrutiny and they're more strict than they used to be, just because unfortunately they have an agenda to somehow eliminate um, irregularities in the system and making sure that whoever invests and whoever works and whoever is present in the US doesn't necessarily represent a threat to its nationals. So there is a tense, if I should say, scenario for immigrants right now. And I'm saying this because I'm advising my client not to take things for granted and to not assume that the system is working on an automatic way, that they, every time they're going to petition the US for any privilege, whether it's a visa or a renewal of their ESTA or the incorporation of their company here or the investment in a franchise, to later request a visa, don't assume that we're navigating the same scenario that we used 2 years ago. There's a new aspects playing in the game, so people need to be more prepared. Always do a very good due diligence when it comes to source of funds, for example, in order to eliminate any suspicious that there's something going on. And I'm not saying that they need to be afraid necessarily. I just saying that they need to be more well prepared and document their petitions in a way that it may have not been necessary to document to that extent in the past.
Would it be fair to say that the E2 visa now has become, let's say, even more valuable
Oh,
in
yes.
terms of,
No doubt. No
you know,
doubt. Because the work visa, which is the other alternative, it's almost impossible because there's this new 100,000 USCIS fees that companies need to pay to bring a foreign employee into the United States. And so we're working around that new limitation, because it's a limitation aside from a lottery and everything else we know, but we're tapping into the E2 not only for investor, but for the managers of these investors, Jose, because they forget that they can continue to bring their own personnel once they have set up the investment. It's not only for investors, it's for their workforce as well.
Correct.
Because we include managers and specialists within that E2 treaty that most of the country have with the US. And there's the TN with Mexico and Canada, and then there's the H1B with Chile, and there's other countries that can tap into other categories as well when we talk about investments.
Correct. Thank you for that, Ilya.
Thank you very much, Eliana. That's really amazing information. A lot is happening.
A lot is happening.
I was talking to an immigration lawyer in Canada, and she was telling me that it's very similar situation they have in Canada. That they just leave that the U.S. makes all the noise in the news, but she was telling me it's exactly the same. It's getting tougher, and there's some situations where they're kind of revoking visas and things like that. It's interesting topic. So.
But Cesar, it's not only happening in the US. I work a lot with Spanish lawyers as well, because we have a lot of clients that are looking into Spain, for example, as an alternative in the meantime. But they're changing the immigration laws in Spain, in Italy.
Yep.
It's not only happening in the US.
That's right. That's right. Perfect. Eliana, thank you very much. I'm not sure if you're connected to Rigo Duran in Venezuela, but if not, Rigo is going to be speaking in our Spanish event on Tuesday.
Oh, great.
So you will have a chance. He's a CEO, entrepreneur, international deal maker. He Venezuelan, but he lived in the US for over 40 years. And like 2 or 3 years ago, he decided to go back home, betting on the future. And a lot of people were telling him like, "Hey, Rigo, just think it through before you make the move." And I think Well, I want to think that things are
Well,
moving well for him.
I have to say, Cesar, that I have a lot of clients who return to Venezuela as a result of the immigration,
Yeah,
conditions right now, and they're very happy there. They tell me
good.
the kids are happy, that they are not concerned about safety right now,
Yeah,
that they're impressed actually, and they're doing good. They're happy there right now as we speak.
yeah, cool. So you will meet Rigo on Tuesday.
Mhm.
Perfect. I would like to use the last 10 minutes as a quick roundtable. Let's each of you here in the room, besides the speakers, introduce yourself for 30 seconds, 1 minute, and then we can wrap up. And I would like to start with Anita Rodal. Anita, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Cesar. Hey, everybody. Anita Rodal, president of SBPI Services. With a degree in linguistics, I offer private pronunciation coaching on Zoom for foreign born business professionals and actors who want to reduce their accents when speaking English, looking for a more region neutral American English. SBPI Services also represents several currency exchange companies, so we help global businesses lower their rates and their fluctuation risks on their cross border payments. Within the US, we broker working capital and equipment loans as well. And by the way, if you or your sales team needs help with your elevator pitch, please visit aboutyourelevatorpitch.com, where you'll find information about my self help workbook and corporate webinars. Anita Rodal, SBPI Services.
And today, you will be hosting the import-export conversation. Tell us a little bit more
In
about it.
1 hour and 10 minutes from now, jump on my Export Import Forum. I am interviewing Martha Medina, who is the Vice President of International Sales at 21st Century Healthcare. They're one of the largest exporters, manufacturers, and exporters of supplements for human beings and pet supplements as well. So she's had a very fun career, and she's going to share a lot of information with us.
Excellent. And Chrome, if I know it's late there, but if you can log into that event, Marta, I think Marta it would be a great connection. She would be a great connection for you because it's kind of the same industry, and she knows she's an exporter. She's been doing business in the Middle East, and so it would be great for you two to connect.
Yeah, sure. I make a lot of meetings these days, so I'm really happy with Global Chamber. It's really good experts. It's really good people with a lot of knowledge. So thank you, Cesar. Thank you to Mr. Buck, to Anita, to all
Sure.
people here.
Chrome, introduce yourself in a minute and the company you're representing.
Yeah, I represent the company Vemo, which produce food supplements, herbal extracts, phytoadditives, and enzymes. We are make food supplements for health and sport, which is very clear from Bulgarian wild herbs, which is they are organic, without chemicals, and it's very suitable for sporties, for active people, for fitness participants, for all people. For all people, our products is very suitable because they are clear and they contain activity ingredients from herbal. So what we are looking to find some partners in USA, in Mexico, in this region, and to start to sell our products, really quality premium products to in these countries. So we are looking to find channels. We can sell online. We can sell with fitness centers. We can sell with pharmacy distributors, also with consultant companies, of course. But this will take a time. I'm very patient, and I believe that with to some months or years, no problem, 1, 2 years, we will go to American market because this is the most competitive market in the world. So to go in this market, I think it's minimum 1 to 3 years. It's a period which we can start selling. So I'm thankful to everyone, and if someone interested from food supplements, which is clear and natural, it's welcome. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Krum. And I have someone for you. There's a new member. I was learning what they do from New York, and it's basically taking European products to the US. So it's gonna be an interesting connection. Um, Pamela, Pam, bravo. I don't know if you're able to speak, Pam, but I wanted to introduce you. Are you there, Pamela? There you go. So speaking of
Sure am.
mobility, international business and expansion, Pam represents GC Global Solutions, and Pam is living in Dubai, but she's currently in Colombia. So before she lived back to Dubai, I wanted to have her here in our call. Pamela, the floor is
Thank you
yours.
so much. Thank you so much, Cesar, for the invitation. For me, it's a pleasure to be here with all of you guys, member of the Global Chamber. It's been really helpful for GCE. Let me just introduce myself. My name is Pamela Bravo, Commercial Manager from GCE. GCE offers services like payroll, employer record, that is the outsourcing of the payroll in 132 countries so far. We also offer immigration services as Cesar say, I'm based in Dubai, currently in Colombia, and moving next week if everything just get resolved with the airports, as you guys know. But yeah, it's good to catch here. I saw a lot of people who are interesting to speak with. Let's say, for example, in this case with Iliana, because we have a lot of clients who want to process the visas and we don't have our own entity there. So I will be great to have that conversation with Ileana to give us all the immigration services or the legal services in Venezuela. Also, I saw interesting with Benjamin because we pay to our employees in these 132 countries. So for us, we will be great to have this faster solution in order to pay to our employees. So for me, it's a pleasure. I left on the comments my LinkedIn profile. Please, everyone, be free to reach me out so we can catch out in case that you guys need anything in Dubai or something that we can support, not just for business, anything we will be able to help you. And thank you so much, Cesar, again for the time on this discussion.
Thanks, Pam. And I think you have someone in Miami, so I need to follow up on that to make sure we get that person integrated. So thank you.
That's correct. Thanks to you.
And
Thank you, Pamela. I'll be so happy to meet with you and assist you in any way I can, okay?
I really
perfect.
appreciate that, Ilya.
Patricia Yanez, from
Hi.
US Investment Club.
Thank you for having me. Jose and Ben, great presentations again. Well, my name is Patricia Llanes. I am the co-founder of USA Investment Club. It's basically a referral network for professionals worldwide to monetize their clients investing in real estate market in Miami. So if this is you and you have like a pool of clients and that they're interested in investing in the real estate market in Miami, let's get together. I can help you monetize your client base. That's basically it.
Thank you, Patricia. Jim Cook, directly from Central Florida.
Trying to get myself on here. Hi, panel. Uh, what we do at Doctor of Startups, we'll take a startup or a unicorn or a huge market disruptor, and it's our job to get them to you guys who need, if they need funding, our job is to get them up there. We basically take startups, unicorns, what we call one-offs. A one-off is a unicorn. It does not have IP or moat protection. Our job is to make everything work. We've got I just put a new one on there for geopolitics on some of our screening process. So that's what we do. If somebody needs help, let me know. I'm done.
Thank you, Jim. And I see, Thierry, you left a message in the chat, but I don't know if you can say a few words, Thierry. And if not, then okay, so you can. All right. So just to wrap up, we have the event with Anita in an hour. We have the Tokyo meetup. It's probably very late for Chrome, but anyone interested in Japan and that part of the world, that's gonna be 7 p.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow we have our League of Extraordinaries. That's the regular monthly round table. We have the event in legal, like what's up in the legal world. And next week I'm gonna be moderating the Spanish call on Tuesday, which you all are invited to. And then I wanted to mention about the networking series that our member Basil Lemba will be hosting starting on Monday. I had the chance to go through one of his classes, and I learned a lot. I think there's a lot, and that's why we're doing this, because I think there's a lot that members of the Global Chamber can take from his experience and networking techniques. It's not only networking. He called himself like the networking the BL networking company or group, but it's really the whole process of sales. It's interesting. And then for those in Miami, I'm gonna be in Miami on Memorial Day, on Memorial Weekend. Actually, it's gonna be almost a week there, but I'm trying to do something on the 27th, which is a Wednesday. So Patricia, Jose, Ileana, I will keep you all posted. Let's see if it's just a launch or I'm touching base with other members there to see if we can do something, because it would be great to put the group together there in person. So that's
Cesar, how many members in the Miami area, Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach counties on the global?
that would be around 20 to 25 something.
Okay.
So that's why I'm working on trying to there's some members that might be inactive for the last year or so, but
Okay.
I'm trying to pull them all together and see what we can do.
Awesome. It'd be great to meet you when you're here.
Sure thing. All right. So thanks everyone for your time today, especially you, Jose, Ben, and Ileana, for all the amazing information. Sure, and I look forward. So the next Miami event, I hope to be that one in person, and then after that, probably by July or August, we'll back to the virtual. So thanks again. Have a great rest of your day.
See you Tuesday.
Have a nice
Bye-bye.
Thank
day.
you, Cesar.
Bye,
Bye bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Sí, hasta el
everyone.
martes. Chao.